with Tony Bachman, who is keynoter in the Report Card Show. You don't have to get warmed up quite yet. We're a couple weeks away.
Yeah, no, we're good. We got another couple weeks before we get the results back, but it'll be curious to see what the numbers actually come in at.
So I always like to talk to you as we're approaching Thanksgiving, the number of people that will come in to visit. And I had a thought about bringing in Aaron of Krumvieda that I know you work with, actually ran into you guys. I don't remember where it was, but we were talking a little bit about what he does, and the kind of people that come to visit him are a little different than what we've done. So from your side, where are we for the year? What kind of requests are you getting? And are people still looking to buy and sell?
Yeah, so number one, we are still seeing good activity out there. I mean, we had one of our open houses yesterday had 10 sets of people that showed up. So, and that was like an hour-long, open house. So I think a lot of it is just contingent on price points. There's certain price points that are still very active, and there's other price points that are just a little bit more quiet. But that's just really par for the time of year. So, yeah.
Value of a house. There's a lot of people that mail things out. I remember you guys used to do it in 72 seconds or whatever it was.
Yeah, we did that market snapshot, which is just a quick look, and we still have the ability to do that. And I think when you're talking about value, a lot of times people have used, Zillow is one of the major players that people go to when they're checking out things, looking at, homes. They want to get their, quote, Zestimate. And, and that's fine. I mean, I think that's just a great way to get some information. But in the same token, the shortcoming of a Zillow's estimate is they're looking at national averages and national trends. They're not looking at our local marketplace. Whereas when we give you a snapshot or when we do a market analysis, it's specifically on our market and your neighborhood.
Now, we need to get Aaron into this. He's going to think that we're just here going back and forth.
Well, that's why we're here, to get Aaron into this conversation.
Yeah. I know, and we are going to do that. But you did say a little something about contractors. If you're planning to build in the next year, to have more than one opinion as to what's going on and give it some time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, the process of building is a big process. And, people talk about how stressful it is. But if you're working with people that are willing to give you more information, easy to work with, and they're willing to break down the process, it takes a lot of the stress out of that. And I think that's where, in reference to like Aaron, for example, the process when we're working with people doing like custom homes and that's where Aaron really excels.
Now, you've got kind of a nice location, the shores, the villas.
Over at Lake Lorraine, yep.
Doesn't hurt your feelings to be out there. No. I was curious, and you've been doing this 2 years?
We started, the Lake Lorraine deal has been about 2 years, a little over 2 years.
I was curious as to what you would get because they're not exactly the $150,000 properties.
Right.
They're a little higher, and you get people that, like on this weekend, if they're coming to town, may want to come out and take a look.
Right. Yeah, what we've saw over at the townhomes we're doing there is, a lot of, I would say, empty nesters who are looking for, a transition to maybe downsize, go from, the bigger house that they're currently in, but somebody that really doesn't want to sacrifice all the quality or the amenities that they're used to. And so that's kind of been our biggest target over there, and that's the trend that we've seen anyways is the folks that really like that higher end quality product, and still has an HOA and something that they can, take off in the winter or take off for a weekend and not really have to worry about anything. So.
The other thing I was hearing is that people would come in from California.
Yep.
They'd come in from North Carolina. I was there with Tony, and they'd say, we didn't expect to find anything like this in Sioux Falls.
Sure.
Are you still hearing that?
We are. Kind of from all over the country. We knew that we'd hit, a big portion of Sioux Falls demographic when we started, but we're seeing people from Minnesota down to Texas, to California, and East Coast. So, it's really, it's kind of the first of its kind in Sioux Falls, this project specifically. And so people are surprised when they see it.
So you got a Dave & Buster's coming in. Is that going to attract anybody else?
Yeah, I think it will. I think, the great thing about it is the commercial, the retail, the restaurants, things like that, that'll open, due to some of these bigger retailers coming in like Dave & Buster's. So, Van Buskirks and Friesens have been doing a really good job of bringing those players in, and that helps us. And of course, our clients are people that can go and help those businesses too.
Tony, you've worked with this. What kind of comments have you gotten?
Yeah, I think that people are excited about the fact that Lake Lorraine is going to be like a destination, location. I mean, with all the things that they have going on, I mean, the fact that they're building like walking paths to go around the Lake Lorraine, which is the walking path is a little over a mile, which doesn't sound that big, but it's perfect. I mean, if someone want to get out and do a little, walking or biking, that sort of thing. And then the other thing is they're looking at setting up little specialty shops, little restaurants. And we already have a number of restaurants that are over there for people to, and the shopping, I mean, they've got some amazing shops over there, and they're continuing to add to that. And we just had a conversation this last week with someone who says, I want someplace that, I travel. The husband said, I travel a lot, but I want someplace where my wife would feel like she had amenities. She could just get out and walk right to those destinations. And so, that part is really, really something that is going to draw a lot of people and continues to. But we're early. I mean, when we've been working on this for, Darren's been working on it for 2 years. We're, all this has been slowly building out, and now it's starting to come to fruition. So I would be surprised. I mean, this thing will be pretty much built out. I mean, around Lake Lorraine probably in the next 2 years.
Trends that you've seen that people really want, that they've seen in other communities, all the places that we've mentioned around the country. Any of those surprise you, or have you had to add some?
We've kind of kept an open mind as far as having some of these people come in from these other communities, tell us some ideas. Obviously, the HOA is something that's been around for quite some time, but just hearing different ideas from people in those different communities about how they approach it, and the different things they do with their community centers and things like that. One thing we talked about in our community building was doing an apartment, a single bedroom apartment to house a guest, when they have somebody coming in, and some other ideas too. But I think in general, the pocket parks, making things, pet friendly, just different ideas like that have all been things that we've tried to take into consideration as we move through the project, and it's helped us kind of guide us to what those people like.
Now, I think you were really smart. And if I misunderstood, maybe I'm really smart. And that dealt with the closer you were to the water and the view, the more expensive it was.
That's typically the case, and that's a lot of developments. You get a few rows back or a few blocks back, and you have some average price lots. And as you get closer and get closer to a waterfront property, the value goes up. Of course, the price goes up when the value goes up. So. That's we've had a big demand for people that want to be down by the lake, and we started the farthest away from the lake for that reason, because we wanted to make sure that what we were doing in establishing those values and making, or I guess moving towards the lake, just wanted to make sure that we weren't going the other way, and starting out with a bigger, higher price product right by the lake, and then working away from that and moving down. So.
Average age, what would you say of the people that are buying, Tony?
I would say probably in their early 60s is the average age. Yeah. So and I think some people are still working, some people are still busy with their businesses. They have families, they have second homes, and and I think the thing that is such a draw, it's not only the location, but it's also the amenities of the homeowners association, where basically they're responsible for the inside of their home. Everything on the outside is taken care of by the homeowners association, and the materials that are being used, are so durable that it's not like they're going to last for a long time. So it's not like there's going to be a lot of maintenance on the outside besides just normal, And one of the things that people always really appreciate is the fact that part of the HOA has we have window cleaners that come in twice a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because you have those higher, you've got like 2 or 3 levels there. Yeah. And a normal person's not going to get up there and clean those. So I think it's a big plus, and people really appreciate that.
Yeah.
20 years ago, when we moved here, we were moving as a big family, and we needed a 5-bedroom home in a certain price range. and we had 10 picked out. By the time we got here, there were only 4 still on the marketplace.
Sure.
What's the marketplace like right now if people are coming in this weekend or between now and Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, Tony could probably answer that a little bit better, but from what I see anyway on the building side, I mean, the phone's still ringing and people are still looking for, existing homes that they need to get into, fairly quick on something kind of like what you mentioned, Bill, as far as moving to town and people that travel for work, relocate, anything like that. We see that where, somebody needs to be in 2 months. What we really like if somebody's wanting to build a home or remodel is if they come to us, 3 to 6 months, sometimes 12 months in advance, just to, give adequate time to go about the process. If somebody's local and they've been thinking about building for a long time and they reach out in May and want to start in June, it makes it just a little more difficult. And, the more things we can get ironed out first by having more time to plan and go through plans and such, just, makes less changes throughout the project itself. So,
well, it's been a while since we've talked about this on the air, but we did a couple of years ago when things were starting up. So if people wanted to look this weekend, Tony, Aaron, how do they do it?
They just get a hold of us. We have we have signs that are out there. Because it's Thanksgiving weekend, we're not necessarily planning to have like an open house per se, because we're just trying to respect everybody's time. But we also know that there's people that are in town, and they can certainly get a hold of us. My cell number, and we have our cell numbers on the sign, so if they're out driving, but we're more than glad to make arrangements. It's not like we're not willing to go out and show the home if someone is called. So we get that, and we expect to be busy doing some of those things over the weekend. And to the point where Aaron was just talking about in reference to having the conversation with people, I mean, there's enough people that have expressed interest. We have a number of people who have given us reservation agreements where they've put money down on future buildings.
Wow.
So I mean, that's the thing is it's a project that's just building and growing, and we're heading in the right direction with it.
Aaron Krumvieda, President, Krumvieda Companies.
Yeah.
Nice to get an update. It's been a while.
Sure, yeah.
And hopefully people can find what they want. And if they didn't expect to find something like that in Sioux Falls, guess what? We have guys they can call.
Right, yep. So, yeah, our main thing that we like to do is provide a full turnkey process for the client or consumer. People, I think, get intimidated by that process if they don't have a house plan, if they don't have a plan to remodel, they don't know what to do. Earlier we talked about the market analysis. I think that's a really important first step, just to see kind of what their current home is worth, and stepping into that pre-approval process with the lender and getting that established is always good. And then moving into, working with somebody like us or another contractor that, that does similar. But going from the design of the home or the remodel to working with one of our team members to pick out all the materials and the interior design and such, and getting a really full-on itemized idea of what the costs are going to be, and kind of moving into that building process, but having enough time to do so and plan for it.
Regardless of where it's at, there's no place like home, guys.
Right. Yep.
Appreciate your visit. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks,
Happy Thanksgiving to you.